Everyone, welcome to Apocrypha. Hope everyone's having a wonderful beginning or mid-weekend. I don't know if you guys consider Friday the start of your weekend. I consider Saturday the start of my weekend, and then Saturday night like the middle part. You know, I guess that's kind of open for discussion of what's what. Um, but tonight's subject, if you can't tell by the title, I was going to go non-direct with it, but I figured I might as well go direct with it because it's something that kind of needs to be talked about, right? Is a subject I'm kind of getting tired of talking about shit like this, to be completely honest, because it seems like every other week there's some group that does something that's being labeled as satanic or demonic or whatever. Now, the only problem here is with this particular situation, the actual group in question actually used those symbols and everything. So that's what we're going to be getting into. But before we do, Mystic, show us your deck. Is that your steampunk one?
This is a really good starting card. I think if I remember correct, last week was a pretty positive read, and I think this week actually went pretty well. At least it did for me. Things were in a really good shape, good manner. So it makes sense that our first card is the sun. Sun represents all these things that are successful and good and bright and joyous, and happy. And you think about the sunflowers being that symbol of how high they reach, how they represent the sun and the energy of things that are good, things that make us uh, happy and that keep things moving in the right direction. So good energy. I hate this sounds so corny because it's good energy, but it really is that. It's good energy, and it's things that are moving in a positive direction. Followed by Four of Wands. If you can see in this, this is all about celebrating. So we're moving into this energy of being thankful, but celebrating with people, not just ourselves or small things. It's going out and doing something and celebrating as a group. There's a baby shower here today, and an engagement, so a place we're hanging out with a couple friends. So it fits. If there's nothing really in your life in celebration, then the Four of Wands can speak to you in the level of not self, like positive self talk, but more recognizing gratefulness for the things that you have. And our third and final card is the Seven of Pentacles, and this is where the energy changes tad. So we've gone from last week being a really good energy that forward. We've got the Sun saying things are going very well. We're doing good. We've got the Four of Wands saying let's celebrate. Let's really be grateful for the things that are going well for us. And then we have Seven of Pentacles. This is not negative energy. It's just a restful energy. The Seven of Pentacles is that taking stock of where you are. It's lining up the pieces, counting your money, saving a little, knowing how much you have and what you need. The Seven of Pentacles is all about having things organized. I often think of the Seven of Pentacles as kind of like the spreadsheet card, the one where you line out all the stuff you own and what it's worth, and you have values and you have information that can be helpful to what it is you're trying to work through. So in this instance, we're still in a very positive place. We're really moving forward. Things still feel good, but we need to take stock of what we have and where we are in the physical world, because we need to know where we stand and we need to know what we have. That helps us know what we need in the future. So that is the quick down and dirty this week.
All right. And as always, very, very accurate, right? So
it felt like last week went really well. I think if I remember, I don't remember the cards, but I remember feeling that the energy was very well planned and organized last week. I think they'll continue to do that.
Yeah, it feels it. It feels like it. Definitely does. So with this topic, I mean, you've been kind of following it a little bit, right?
Watching what?
What are your thoughts on it? What they're saying about it?
It's difficult to. It's always difficult in these situations to gauge whether the satanic shit is legit. Like, because I struggle to find how, if we look at branches of Satanism, whether that's like LaVeyan, atheistic, theistic, this isn't something that has a place in any of it, obviously. So it's difficult to, I mean, we hear this a lot of the time, people using satanic and demonic as synonyms for evil or depraved. But when there's like satanic symbols involved, it's kind of like, okay, do they legitimately think that this is, I don't know, that this kind of sadism has any relation to Satanism? I mean, like, I'm not a Satanist, but I will defend it. I'll defend it because I know enough about it to know that this is, this doesn't have a place in it. Like, it's not, that there's nothing in Satanism that is inherently about harming others, especially children. In fact, on the contrary, I would say that children and animals and, those that are vulnerable are considered sacred and must be protected. I can't say where I've read that, but I've definitely read that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Satanic Bible. And, I've come across things in Satanism that I don't agree with and that don't align with me, but it's never been anything like sadistic, apart from, if we look at groups like Order of Nine Angles or something, like, we know what they're about. But that doesn't speak for the whole, and those groups are, as far as I know, very, very rare. So is this just like one of those really rare extremist groups? Are they trying to be edgelords by using this symbolism and it's not really like a legit thing? I don't know, we and what Maeve has just said about the church and things being swept under the rug. It is a case of, like, we do find weirdos and creeps and pedophiles in all religions and all belief systems, unfortunately. Oh, you found that quickly. So in the Satanic Bible, under no circumstances would a Satanist sacrifice any animal or baby. For centuries, propagandists of the right-hand path have been prattling over the supposed sacrifices of small children and voluptuous maidens at the hand of diabolists. It would be thought that anyone reading or hearing of these heinous accounts would immediately question their authenticity, taking into consideration the biased sources of the stories. On the contrary, as with all holy lies which are accepted without reservation, this assumed modus operandi of the Satanists persists to this day.
And it goes on, right? So it says there are sound and logical reasons why the Satanists could not perform such sacrifices. Man, the animal, is the Godhead to the Satanist, purest form of carnal existence, reposes in the bodies of animals and human children who have not grown old enough to deny themselves their natural desires. They can perceive things that the average adult human can never hope to. Therefore, the Satanist holds these beings in a sacred regard, knowing he can learn much from these natural magicians of the world. So, I mean, like, even in the basis, like the fundamental basis of, like, the cornerstone of Satanism, and the left-hand path philosophy, the Satanic Bible, I mean, blatantly says that, no, this isn't a thing. And I think what needs to be talked about isn't the group itself, but rather the media's lack of responsibility in clarifying that though these people may have used symbols, though these people may have used, vernacular that is related to the occult or Satanism, that the group itself is not connected to any recognized organization, satanic organization, or occult group. Because as far as I can tell, they're not. And because there's been no information as to any type of connection that they have, the Church of Satan, the Satanic Temple, or any other, even the Order of Nine Angles, none of that has come out. And I think that the media has a stark responsibility that they very blatantly ignore to protect innocent people and not create another fucking satanic panic because they finally found a group that actually uses satanic imagery, and they're doing this shit, right? I don't even want to say it out loud. I have it all starred out in the title. Mystic. I mean, what do you think, man? Are you just as fed up with this shit as I am?
Yeah, all over. Um, um, there are, unfortunately, and I use the term in the chat, asshat. Can't think of a better term that wouldn't get me, kicked. That no matter what group we're in, going to happen. No matter what, I'm gay, I'm a male, I'm pagan. All three of those groups have those problems in them, right? Somebody who sits over here who's a teacher, who's Catholic, and rides a motorcycle. You can find somebody that fits in these groups that is Catholic, teacher, and motorcycle riders. All groups have people that shouldn't exist, right? And do these things that just, my personal opinion has always been crimes against children and animals are the worst possible things, just period. And I think a lot of people would agree, right? But what's interesting is I am trying to read the article a little bit, at least one of them. It's a quote that one of these individuals, the Australia one, where it says these evidences or cases of child abuse were particularly devastating in that they use symbols and rituals around abusing children. It was very ritualistic. Who the hell cares what they did? Yeah, boo boo over them. The act is the act. That is the part, like we were talking about earlier, that is unfortunate. Now, this article did a good job in the title. I won't read it because, again, there's some keywords. It's pretty much all keywords, but it doesn't mention anything about, satanic or any of that kind of stuff until you read it and you get into that just third or fourth paragraph. Why are they particularly devastating? Because there's something ritualistic about it. That I don't understand at all.
No, me either.
That's not what's the devastating part is the act, the torturous act, right?
Yep.
If they put on a nun outfit or dressed up as a preacher, does that change the act? It
might normalize it for the church.
Yeah, that's accurate, unfortunately. I think.
Sorry, continue.
No, that's okay. I was going to ramble on. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, I think that using the word satanic, people need. I think normal people that can't fathom doing this kind of thing have a really hard time understanding that people can be evil by themselves and commit evil acts by themselves. So when you add, they're Satanists, it kind of somehow makes it more digestible to them.
Mhm.
'Cause it's like, oh, that's why they did it. Like, people want to know why people are capable of doing this kind of thing. Um, I feel like that's why there's kind of like this obsession with things like true crime, because it's like this interest in the human psyche and what brings someone to do something like this. Is it trauma? Were they born like that? What do the psychologists say, you know? Like, how I think we always have had a hard time understanding how people do these things. So I think that's, you know, if it's just like international child sex abuse material ring, it's sort of like, oh, well, why? But then you have international satanic child sex abuse material ring. It gives them the answer there and then.
You know, I love how Mystic was trying to avoid those words, and you just like, what?
No, yeah, I mean, I was literally just reading it off the screen. Like,
It's okay.
I don't know if I've just demonetized the whole entire
This
thing,
video
but
probably won't be able to be content.
yeah.
Just say what needs.
So yeah, I think the main kind of function of this is like people don't understand. I don't think we'll
Yeah,
ever
if
understand what brings people to do these things. So
if you can put the behavior, attach it to a person that's in a different bucket than I am, then I can't be like that.
yeah, and I find it interesting how, you know, the occult is always going to be like the scapegoat for things.
Well, and that's the part that was kind of disturbing about the video I saw, because it wasn't just satanic that they said satanic
Occult.
and occult.
And occult isn't.
Very general.
Yeah, the occult is an umbrella term for all sorts of things. Like, what are you saying that, like, the little old lady that like reads angel cards is, you know, behind this shit as well? Like, you know, you need to, you know, semantics are important here. So
Yeah.
And they sell.
Oh, it does. It does. It brings attention to shit, but it brings the wrong kind of attention. Again, like I said, I mean, this is what's going to inevitably end up happening. Can you keep him bouncing? What's inevitably going to end up happening here is, you know, with the term satanic used, I mean, that satanic, we're kind of like jaded to that term at this point, right? Like, as a society being used in these contexts. But the term that's not usually used is occult,
Cult.
because that encompasses Mystic, Rook, myself, Dyra, and everyone in this chat, regardless of the path that you're on, regardless of what you're actually practicing. The term occult, occultist, encompasses all of us, which makes this particular thing, I think, exceptionally dangerous to the community, especially with certain. I'm starting to notice Christians becoming a bit more militant online, and calling for a return to the Crusades. And what I'm afraid of is I feel like we have the positioning of a perfect storm right now. The perfect storm that happened during the first Crusades. So most Christians, if you talk to Catholics specifically, the way that they justify the Crusades is the Crusades were a defense against Islam. And what inevitably ended up happening is they started out with the Crusades because they wanted to fight against Islam and what Islam was doing at the time, or the Muslims were doing at the time. And then everybody else got wrapped up in it. Like, so if you didn't matter if you were Jewish, if you were Muslim, if you were pagan, like if you believed in a different invisible man than the people wearing the red crosses, you know, you got told convert or die. you know, and unfortunately, a lot of people stood their ground and they chose to die. Which is why a lot of our history is gone. And the reason I say it's a perfect storm right now is if we look at the current climate dealing with Muslims and Christians in cities like London and certain places in the United States, there's a lot of these Christians becoming very militant in the way that they're speaking about things and in the way that they want to deal with the Muslims. And with this right here, people calling out Satanism and occultism for child abuse, what do you think the next obvious target is if, you know, some Christians decide to start a modern day crusade? Us. So that's the fear that I have, because I feel like we are sitting inside of a perfect storm right now, the beginning of a perfect storm.
Shall it start? Which it's already going. It call it what you want. It's I don't want to be hyperbolic myself, but crusade, not. I mean, maybe they call it like the insidious crusade, where you never actually really see the full tense of it coming.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's enough of us around that it's going to become, to me, it's going to become like the 90s and 2000s were for gays. Got to go through that point first, and then it's going to peel back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be a problem. I know I am seeing more, interestingly, I'm seeing more, well, it's not interesting, it's just how it is. Everybody there won't be a shock. People in our local life, I'm not feeling any different with. They're caring, comforting, they're available, they're like, even the ones that we have that we know that are Christian, they're like, "Oh, honey, I'm Christian, but if they come for you, they're coming for all of us." And I believe them. We have a lot of that locally, a lot of that in our community. But right now, there's little pockets of people that are willing to say it online. They're not quite willing to say it to our face yet. As a whole, many are, but not all. But that's when we know we're hitting the next level, right? The next level is when they start saying it to our faces, which is what they're doing now. Was my point I was getting to. Starting to see people go right up to you and say, "You're a Satanist. You should burn in hell." I don't want to say this and hurt anybody's feelings, but when they said it to gay people, and they still do, it is truly it's aggressive, yes. And I don't want to take the spin out of it, but they're really talking about it. They're not talking about coming at me with a pitchfork and burning me. And I know that. And well, some, not all. Maybe a couple. But in general, they're talking about the sinner burning in hell. They're not saying like I'm coming to kill you. I think this is a little different. I think these people really are willing to actually cause harm. And that's the scary part. And yes, I'm not saying that gay people, trans people that never had harm. That was a big thing. But I think it was a little bit more. I think this is worse, I guess I should say. I think people have more means, more hate, and they just have more capability to cause more damage this time around.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I kind of think that that's kind of like the scary part about it, right? Like I just feel like I just feel, and I'm feeling like a tipping point coming over. There's a boiling point coming. It's just there's just a couple more things that need to happen, and shit's gonna pop off. And I'm not excited for it. I don't want it to happen. I want to be wrong, but I just feel.
I did read in the U.S. that they're trying to remove the pagan as a listed religion with the military. So that would be a huge deal because there's about 1.3, I think they said, million pagans registered, and that's going to be, to me, that's going to be one big sign in the U.S. that's just about to get real.
Yeah. Rook, what are your thoughts, man?
So I think comment on what you said that about people being mystic, more empowered. And I think a lot of the things is AI and technology, and you can put something out there that looks real and manipulate data and share it so quickly that even if it's not true, once it's been seen, it's kind of done its damage. And then I was looking at the article. One of them, it was an ABC article from Australia. And it said those buzzwords in there about the satanic and ritualistic international ring, but then that's all it said. And when you get into the article, it says it again, the satanic ritualistic ring, but then it's talking about live children and animals as in bestiality. So what are the symbols that it's talking about? I didn't see any mention of what are the satanic symbols. So I can only help to wonder. I don't know the situation in Australia, but is it like in the US where these politicians and religious figures are the actual ones getting caught doing this stuff, and they're throwing this kind of thing out there because it never mentions what are these satanic symbols. So that's what I think.
No, I agree with you. I mean, that's one of the things that I've been kind of wondering, like, what are they, talking about when they talk about occult symbols or, satanic symbols? Like, are they just talking about pentagrams? Like, there's a couple of pentagrams.
If I really want to go down that route, numbers can be occult.
Yeah, right.
It can make personal sigils. We have sigils on our house that people could. I'm surprised we don't have people coming at us for that kind of shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, like even like sacred geometry. I mean, I look. I mean, that's occult. In a lot of ways. So like that's the thing, right? Like is it like we're talking about like the atypical or like the typical everyday like edgelord type fucking occult symbols or like and I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's probably a very specific reason why they're not releasing that type of information is like to like obviously in cases like this they withhold certain information, to verify, whether or not somebody is an actual suspect or not. Go ahead, Mystic.
No, I was going to say something that wasn't appropriate timing, but I'll say it now. I'm curious to read more about this afterwards to see what the international connections are.
Yeah, because I mean, what they're saying, I mean, 4 people have been arrested, but from what my understanding is this the organization that they're talking about, which they have yet to name the organization, is it's a very large organization, right? That wouldn't surprise me either.
It's always going to be the large group going against the small group, and occultism is the easy target because again, I go back to some of our previous conversations, and I know this isn't true for everybody, but I think the majority of people, and I could be very wrong, this is anecdotal, but I really do think the majority of people find their way into occultism because they have nowhere else to go and one place that accepts just about everybody. Because you can find a way, you can belong to something, and it's a good feeling. So
yeah, no, exactly. So it's just, I mean, the only thing that I think I'm worried about is the mission with like Apocrypha and like the other podcasts and the videos and stuff like that, and for not just me but a lot of other content creators, in the occult scene, the mission's always been information, correct, appropriate information, so people are informed and they know not to be afraid of, ignorantly about these things. And the one thing that I am beginning to notice is that it doesn't matter how much you educate people on something. If they want to hate it, they're going to hate it regardless of what you say. It doesn't matter how many facts you dump on them, how much information you give them. I'm looking at, James's comment in the chat. They're saying pentagrams were used by Christians at one point. And yeah, I mean, that's true, the tetragrammaton, but you know, they don't care. That's the thing. They just don't care. They don't care that, you know, there's overlaps and there's connections. They don't care that, you know, a golden rule in you know, the left-hand path and Satanism and Luciferianism is to not to harm animals and children, or anyone for that matter, you know, unless of course it's like some weird like consensual BDSM shit, but that's a whole other topic. You know, they don't care. And the reason why I get so, sometimes I feel like I get like borderline fear-mongery with this shit, and I don't like feeling that way. But the reason why I get this way is because I just noticed that people just aren't listening. I mean, it goes back to like that comment that I left on that Catholic podcast a while back, you know, that was talking about, you know, going to war with, you know, pagans of all types, occultists of all types, that all witches are evil and things like that. And, you know, I had said, you know, in the comment section, I said, look, I mean, we're not the ones talking about going to war with you guys. You guys are always talking about going to war with us. And I was like, you need to understand something. Like, you know, we're not going to start shit, but like, we will defend ourselves. And the owner of the podcast answered, and their answer was, bring it on. That was their answer. Like that was the response that I got, you know, from a Catholic priest, was bring it on.
Sounds amazing.
Right?
He's a Christian warrior.
Right? I wasn't even saying I was going to start. I literally said in the comment, we're not going to start anything, but we will defend ourselves. And the response was, bring it on. It's like, you're the one that's coming at us.
It's already been brought.
Right? And so you know, it's just, Travis, don't start with that type of shit. Like the universe is conscious, thus God exists. Like,
I agree.
Like, you know, don't start with that. Come on.
Just not the Christian God.
Right? So, you know, it's just, I don't know where to go from here, honestly. Like, because I think we've beaten a dead horse with this shit, but
Well, we have to be, as an occult group, willing to understand and accept that there are going to be many different types of us in this group, and recognize that there are going to be some asshats and some people that don't belong, and we have to be willing to stand up to them on that principle when it shows in our face. Unlike the Catholic, right?
yeah, exactly. The thing is like is it such a difficult concept to understand that, like, to be quite honest, like, we really just want to be left the fuck alone? Like, is that truly like that difficult of a fucking concept to understand? We just want to live our lives and be allowed to do what is like our mortal given right in existence to do? You know, like it's our birthright to be able to live our lives to the fullest and live it to like the fullest point of happiness and peace that we can, you know, accommodate without harming others.
I mean, it sounds great.
Right? Doesn't it? And the thing is it's like we're constantly the ones that are blamed for the worst fucking shit that happens in the world. You know? And, you know, they're the ones starting everything. They're the ones that want to start all the fights, but then blame us because you know, because it happened. Travis,
It'll be all right. Just ignore it. Nah.
I mean, Christianity is a real religion. I mean, it's a religion.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that God is real. Your God is real. That doesn't, that's not necessarily a thing, right? You know,
Hmm. We do beat it like a dead horse, but I think it's important that we continue to, because this stuff's going to continue to come up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to get worse for a while. Um, I'm assuming most of my adult life until I die is probably going to be as part of a group of people that's trying to prove, which shouldn't be our responsibility, but it is. But it's trying to prove that everybody has the right to believe anything they want to believe. And I don't think we would have near as many murderers or rapists or child molesters or any of those things if humanity stopped being so divisive. When you look at the history, and I'm not excusing behavior, there's reasons. Some people are just bad. But I did a lot of stuff, and it's been a long time. You know, when I was in college and university, and we read a lot of stuff for psychology classes, and we learn often, and this I think still rings true, that people that are likely to abuse have been abused. Does not excuse the behavior, period. But if we can break the cycle of abuse and the cycle of Christian and any other type of extremism, because Christian extremism is the one that's most visible to me. If we work on those things, then all these bad things, I think, will get less and less.
Yeah, I mean,
Because look at Ted Bundy, or whoever. There's so many examples of people who are murderers and serial killers, and they are because they were, and almost all of them, we were raised extremely strict. You couldn't even turn on the TV, and you couldn't read a book that said crap in it.
mm-hmm.
I mean, you put those kind of restrictions on a human being, we're not meant for that.
We're not. I completely agree. Travis, I'm going to give you one more comment on what you're talking about. With the way that you're talking about it, like I'm hoping right here, but I don't know if that's Mark 5. I don't know if Travis is Mark 5. I don't know. Cause I know he changed his name and he doesn't go by Mark 5.
Yeah, once they did all this.
So, but I don't remember what he changed his name to. So I'll give you something. So I'll play, like, ironically enough, I will play devil's advocate here. And I will say, let's say, hypothetically speaking, that Jesus was a true, human being that walked the earth, that was there, that even performed miracles. Jesus did not exist, through the story of Jesus that I understand, Jesus did not exist to create Christianity. His goal was not to create Christianity. We did that because we wanted to control.
So tethered grav must be is my guess at this, maybe.
So that's just kind of like my thing, right? Oh, okay. No, it's not me, but I'm here listening. Okay. So I do not believe that Jesus existed or came into being to create Christianity and create an entire religion for people to believe in him. Jesus didn't want people to believe in him. He wanted people to believe in God. So if I were to convert to anything outside of what I believe, it would be Judaism. It wouldn't be Christianity. I'd be a Jew. Because from everything that I've read, everything that I've seen, that was, his goal was to teach people how to live their lives, not to create a religion. Right? Like, to create a religion, that was man. Man did that. We could, like, it was a Roman pagan that stitched the Bible together. Politicians.
If I was born, I always go back to this. If I was born in the middle of the woods, to humans that lived together as a small group, did not have interaction with the rest of the world, I cannot ever in my brain come to any single conclusion that I ever would have been anything closely related to Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that is enough to say that I don't believe there is one true religion. Sure, I definitely believe our souls are on their own paths, and we are all trying to find our own way to whatever it is that our soul is trying to find its way to. Whether that's eternal rest, so be it. But just it's interesting.
So, yeah, and Travis, I mean, I don't know if you know Mark or anything like that, but Mark and I have had wonderful conversations about theology. And I have a great amount of respect for Mark. But if you know Mark, then I would talk to Mark a little bit more and learn like the appropriate manner of engagement when talking in this chat. I'm not saying that you've said anything bad or negative or anything like that. Well, then you should get to know him. You should get to know him. Because we call him the resident Christian. And he's a wonderful individual and very respectful. And we have had very non-combative. I was the asshole with Mark. I had him come on the show, and I was a complete dick to that man. And I still feel horrible about it. So, you know, if you don't know him, get to know him, because I think he might teach you a thing or two about engagement with talking to other human beings about theology. So,
May it is he.
So I just want to say that. I just want to say that. I mean, I think most Christians should talk to Mark. I think Mark should open up a school to teach Christians how to talk to people. Mark, there's a business idea for you, brother.
I do not disagree at all with that. I often, when we have conversations, that's often who I'm thinking about to remind myself that I too cannot just lump all Christian people together for certain things.
100%. Right? Like Mark is like, I'm sorry, Mark, we're talking about you like you're not here, but you know, Mark is a breath of fucking fresh air when it comes to, it's just, yeah, like, I mean, I don't think I've ever met a Christian that, is like him. See, that's the problem, Travis. Like, you're not into the conversation,
Yeah.
You're into conversion. Like that's what you're trying to do, right? And the whole point is the conversation.
Yeah. Instead of saying you should read Marcus because it will open your eyes, conversation is, how do you believe? How do we each believe differently? How do we arrive to the things that we have arrived to because our experiences are so different? The moment somebody tells me I need to do something or take someone's advice, hey, I don't know who the fuck you are. And the moment somebody says, I don't care about you or what you do, you're already not in the community to me. I don't care what you think. That's kind of fucking rude. You do care what we think because we're talking about it and you're continuing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good thing. Have the conversation. I would love to hear more about it, but I'm not going to listen now.
Right, exactly. Like just kind of dropping that
that's
line
closing
in the
off.
chat, like do this and that's it. Like, well,
hey, I'm coming. Yeah, coming to your group and just saying, hey, it's great. Great. Yeah.
Step one, stop making the conversation about you. Right, Maeve? Because the thing is, if anybody knows anything about this channel, especially Apocrypha is about dissenting opinions. I do not disagree with the idea of having Christians in the chat. I love the idea of, having Christians. We're not offended, man. It's
not offended.
It's not about being offended, right? There's no offense taken. But it's about having a conversation, right? Like if you really want to reach people, if you as a Christian, your goal is to truly reach people and truly touch their lives and change their lives, how about stop telling people that they're going to go to fucking hell for doing shit that you don't believe in and trying the traditional scare tactics that don't work anymore? Right? Like, have a conversation with a fellow human being. And yes, just like what Mark said, step 2, find common ground. Stop doing the me versus you thing. We're both human beings, man. Yeah, I believe in something different that you believe in. But, you know, we're still both human. I have a family in this house right now. I have a wife and 2 kids. We're still human.
I just want to add 2 things. Nobody, Travis, feels like you've condemned them. You may have felt you were just telling us about your firsthand research. Your exact words, if you go up and look at them, it will open your eyes. Please, if you where did it go? It's not a Christian book. I'm telling you guys, it will open your eyes. You know, don't assume that our eyes aren't open. Come into the group. We want to hear about your first in an appropriate setting. I would love to hear more about it. I'd love to know more about what you're talking about.
Yes,
The moment you say, I don't care if you guys are going to take my advice, you've now not offended. It's not interested.
Mm-hmm. No, nobody wants to be attacked, right? Like,
Yeah, nobody's condemning. You didn't condemn. I'm not even mad about the. I just think you could have had a much better conversation if it went a different way.
Yeah, I mean, it's the little nuances of how things are said and how things are presented, like how you present your information. It's the nuances of how you present it. You know, and the thing is like, I don't want to be at war with Christians. I really don't. I don't want to be at war with anyone. But, you know, it seems like the people that kind of keep coming after us are the Christians, right? And which is why, unfortunately, I made an assumption about Mark, and when I had him on the show, like I mistreated him. I did. I went into that conversation with him, that first initial conversation, thinking
I remember that.
Thinking he was going to be rude, he was going to be condemning, he was going to be all of these things, and he wasn't a single one of those things. Like there's something very particular about the way Mark carries himself and handles himself in a conversation that makes it easy to have that type of conversation with him, because there is no offense to it, because we're able to disagree with each other.
Well, he's not telling you to believe what he believes, telling you what he believes. And some of it's very interesting, and nobody's concerned about you trying to convert to Christianity either, but it's not your role to try to get us more into Stoic philosophy. You don't know what we're into yet. So talk about it. Keep the conversation about, I believe this. I was enlightened by this. This book really helped me figure this out. It's a really good book. That's what we talk.
Yeah, if you said, like, the book that you're talking about, if you said this book for me was very eye-opening, and it may be for you too, you know, like even that way, saying it that way, which is more suggestive, you know, instead of it'll open your eyes. Like, so you're assuming that my shit's closed, and that means that what? That I'm ignorant? I've read the Bible. I don't know how many times. I've read the Torah. I've read the Quran. I've read most major religious scriptures that exist. You know. Oh, yes, I do remember. I don't remember anything of it, but yes, I do remember, or at least I remember the title, Zohar. Because the reason I remember it is because it makes me think of Zohan. Which,
and my lack of knowledge, I think Lohan. So,
because Zohan is like an Adam, like you don't mess with the Zohan. It's an M. Sandler movie. Which
I'm a little further out on.
Which is funny. I don't think Don't Mess with Zohan would be a good movie to come out now. It's still funny as shit.
Wouldn't pass the vibe check now?
No, it would not. It would not. It did not age well.
We have a movie that we watch, but it's a movie and a TV show. Highly recommend it if you don't get offended easy. But it would not be successful if it released right now. I mean, people would be murdered. It's so good, though.
What movie is it?
Sordid Lives. It is. If you can think of a group to make fun of, it's in there. It's fucking hilarious. Based in Trailer Park, Texas. Not every day that your mother dies tripping over another man's wooden leg.
Okay. All right, so I see what you're saying there, Travis. Okay, well then, that's definitely a rabbit hole I'm gonna have to go down then, because I've only been, then I'm at the end of that trail, which is the Torah. So, yeah. So, and this is
And I know
the thing
nothing about any of that.
conversation, right? This is the thing about conversation. You're presenting me with information that I was previously unaware of. I was not aware that that was a chain, you know, going all the way through that. I was not aware of that. So, you know, that's the thing, right? Like, see, wasn't so bad. Didn't hurt. Anyway, coming back around to the topic, to kind of close out. I am tired of talking about these types of groups being labeled occult or satanic or anything like that. Most of these people do it for the edgelord effect. There's a online cult group that we've talked about in the past called 764. I think even mentioning that now, we probably got completely demonetized. I might get the channel banned, but you know, it is what it is. You know, that, you know, are the same way, right? They get kids to do stupid shit, and they use, you know, imagery and symbols and things like that, very edgelordy symbols, pentagrams and stuff like that, you know, inverted pentagrams like the sigil of Baphomet, whatever, you know, all over their stuff. There's even people now calling like the sigil of Baphomet their logo, the logo of this cult. It's not a fucking logo, which I just find that disgusting. I find that disingenuous, and just blatant lying. Because now you're going to sit there and you're going to potentially make anyone that has a pentagram on any type of social media, you know, a target, you know, because of this group, right? That does heinous things. It needs to stop. We can't stop it. It's going to keep going. And so therefore we need to be aware of it. We need to be aware of what's going on. We need to be aware of what's happening around us. And it needs to stop, because any Satanist worth their salt will tell you that harming children, animals, or anyone without, you know, consent with limits is just wrong. And now that you finally got him down, would you like to add to the conversation?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I've just sat down again.
Well, I mean, we're kind of closing out, so.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, no, just echoing what you said, like, it is really tiring, especially when it's like people on social media whose views are kind of like, I don't know, I like what they're about, but then whenever something happens, it's like this, it's like, demonic, guys. Yeah, it's really tiring. I think the first time I spoke about this was in like 2022 when the whole Balenciaga thing happened. That was the first time I ever spoke about it, and yeah, I've just had fatigue ever since then, to be honest. So yeah, fucking yeah, scapegoats.
Yeah, that's kind of what we are. Mystic?
I mean, ultimately, like I said in the beginning, my biggest thing is just recognizing and really trying to do two things. One, remembering that every single group is going to have shitheads in it, shitheads, asshats, people that do things that just aren't conducive, not just with life as far as like our society is run, but just conducive with humanity. And then part two of that is that those of us that are a part of the occult or are, maybe satanic or pagan, witch, whatever, to continue to express our humanity, but also our strength, and making sure that the people that are in our circles understand that we're not those people. Unless you are, then you should die. That we're not those people. So that when shit does hit the fan, we'll have some people on our side at least to say, hey, not this one. This one's good. Because that's the only way we survive.
I agree. Rook.
Well, I just think this just echoes of things that have happened in the past, although it's not religious groups doing this with these four men. And I agree with kind of what I think you were saying in the beginning. I think the media should be more responsible with the way and the wording that they use when they are reporting the news, because it can be harmful, especially now when everything's so instant. Everybody immediately knows anything. So I think they should be more responsible with their words. And if they don't have the facts, don't use those buzzwords to tie Satanism and the occult to CP.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it is detrimental. Like I said, I mean, like my biggest fear right now is like, I just feel like there's a perfect storm brewing with everything that's going on internationally right now. And I feel like we're getting to, I think the term is a matchbox event, right? So that one last thing that's just going to be the one thing that's needed for everything to start snowballing. It's just the tension is just it's palpable. It really is. Like the international tension across multiple different things, that there's too much happening for us to consolidate it and deal with it. And because it's not even just the things that we're talking about here. Like there's so many more things that are happening, behind the scenes, in front of our faces, I feel like something is going to pop off. I don't want to say soon, but within the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to start snowballing, and unfortunately, we are all going to be caught in it. And I'm not just talking about occultists. I'm saying everybody, fucking humanity. We're just going to be stuck in it. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I really do fucking hope I'm wrong. But if we don't learn how to talk to each other and have conversations, like, that's it, guys. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm reading the fucking room, and it's a big room, but it's the same shit happening from one end to the other, and it's not hard to read what's going on. So, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a psychic. I'm not predicting the future. I'm just saying what I feel, and yeah, I mean, it's a little nerve-wracking. Not gonna lie. Just is. But anyway, to keep to my promise to Mystic that we were going to stay on time because he's tired this evening and doesn't want to go over, we're going to call it there. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are fucking amazing. And as always, hail thy fucking self. We'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.